what were some of those questions that you would ask someone in how they're setting their goals?
So a key one for me would be why this goal? Why do you want to achieve it? And that's really linked to the goal motives underpinning a goal. So we know that when people are trying to pursue a goal because it's enjoyable, it's important to them, they understand the benefits of it, it is inherently linked with who they see themselves as a person, their own inherent values. So term those autonomous goal motives. And there's a real wealth of evidence which demonstrates that when people are pursuing goals for those kind of reasons, they're more likely to be successful in them. They put in more effort in order to achieve them. They persist when things get really difficult. And also they are sometimes more able to disengage from a goal which they can no longer achieve and re-engage in something they can do. So that would be a classic injury situation. I wanted to achieve this. I've gotten injured. I'm not going to be able to do that anymore. And they still find it really difficult, but they might be able to say, okay, I'm going to reinvest my effort in this alternative goal, which might just delay the timescales. It might be another path to success. It might be something quite different. So we know that when people are motivated with autonomous reasons for their goals, then that it's better for them and also has benefits for their well-being. Whereas when people are pursuing goals because of either internal or external pressures, so internal pressures might be I'd feel really guilty if I don't pursue this goal. It would make me really anxious if I didn't do it. Or the expectations of others, my parents, my coach, my teammates expect me to pursue this goal. These are termed more more controlled reasons. And they are also quite powerful motivators. So people are likely to start pursuing the goal in the first place, but when it gets more challenging, they're less likely to maintain or put in extra effort in order to reach the goal. They're less likely to re-engage if they have to disengage from a failed goal or an attainable goal. They're less likely to re-engage in an alternative one, and they're less likely to experience benefits for their well-being. They may be more likely to experience things like burnout and poor mental well-being. So definitely the motives that people are pursuing a goal with are really, really important. You touched on about how almost planning for barriers and planning for things to get in the way. And while it hasn't been looked at loads in sport, there's a lot of stuff in sort of the general psychology literature around something called implementation intentions. So these are really like if-then plans. So if I get injured, then I will do this. And so they don't show actually can be quite useful for helping people in the pursuit of their goals, or almost planning for the challenges that they're going to experience, and making plans for what they will do when those situations occur. So I guess we can see it again a lot in the health space around like if people are trying to be more physically active, for instance, of like, if I get to the end of the day and I haven't done my steps target that I've set for myself, then I'm going to go for a walk in the evening, or I'll walk home rather than get the bus in order to meet my goals. So some of those aspects of planning around those barriers in the first place, I think can be really useful for people as well. There's stuff around different types of goals. So process goals, which are really focused on the processes in order to achieve the goal. So that might be technique, or it might be smaller things which are very much in the person's control. Performance goals, which might be to achieve a certain performance standard. So run a 5K in a certain time. So still within my control largely, but focused on a sort of measurable outcome of performance. And an outcome goal, which is more focused on winning, essentially, and placing in a particular place, which is less within our control. And there's definitely evidence to say that process goals are much more effective than performance and outcome goals. And so that would be, I think, something to focus on. But I'd caveat that with most people and most athletes have an outcome goal, and we shouldn't probably take that away from them. They probably wouldn't be in the situation they're in if they didn't want to win or didn't want to be, the best in their given position. And I think it's not about taking away that focus on winning or placing in a certain place, but it's making it not the only goal. So having some other goals which allow people to feel successful even if they don't reach that outcome goal, I think is probably quite important. So I guess there's some of the things. I could probably go on, but I think they're some of the key things that I'll get people to think about. And probably the final one would be feedback. So how are people getting feedback on their progress towards their goal? And I think that's probably quite important to consider.
Would that feedback be their own internal feedback, or would that mainly be derived from external feedback?
It could be both. And I think that depends again on the skills of the person setting the goal. If you've got somebody who is more experienced and perhaps has some reflective skills to be able to effectively assess their own performance, then that would probably be sufficient. But I still think there needs to be that active sort of reflective process that people are encouraged to do, to think, okay, what progress am I making? But I still think the external feedback is useful in relation to helping people to understand what progress they're making. And so that could be a coach, could be, again, depending on the nature of the goal, could be an S&C coach, it could be a head coach, it could be a technical coach if people are working on more technical aspects. But yeah, I think that's an important component to include.
If you've enjoyed that clip, then you might enjoy the full unedited version of that episode. All you got to do is click right here. Go on, up there. Go.